Pika pika!
In crystal darkness, a harsh law of survival is unfolding. This innocence is the pinnacle of deceptive mimicry tactics. An opportunistic predator believes it has found an easy meal. This jaw is a mutated horn with power to crush diamonds. Terror fills the predator as it realizes it has become the prey. Juvenile individuals act as lures, enticing enemies into ambush points. Peace is shattered as Scolopiti swarms invade to contest territory. Marwill utilizes steel-type hardness for a direct frontal confrontation. Despite injuries, its combat instinct remains extremely sharp. Survival instinct triggers an ancient mechanism hidden within its genes. Mega evolution emerges, multiplying the raw power of cold steel. Independent dual jaws create an impenetrable biological shield. Pressure from forged steel can crush any toughened alloys. Speed skyrockets thanks to the flow of pure fairy energy. All excess energy is compressed into one final strike. The battle ends, returning primitive silence to the cave. Mega energy is a terrible burden on the living organism. It returns to small form, yet carrying a king's memory. A new predatory cycle begins in perfect deception. In nature, appearances are often the most dishonest things. In the ruins of human ambition, an ancient ghost awakens. No directives, no master. A perfect biological weapon, forgotten in the flow of time. It observes the new world through the lens of incomplete algorithms, curiosity, analysis. Leaving the organic creature behind, its sensors catch a more familiar signal: energy. Learning to exist without destruction, at least not yet. But peace is a luxury in the wasteland. The dragon armor is too thick for superficial probes. overwhelming physical power. System critical, energy depleted. When technology fails, instinct takes over. The true Paleozoic monster has awakened. Brutal counterattack, precise, merciless. A cold calculation to open up the kill shot. Techno blast. The destructive power of ancient technology unleashed. Enemy neutralized. System returning to standby. It is no longer an experiment. It is a survivor. Giant chasm, a geological rift isolated by permafrost and perpetual darkness. This is home to an entity possessing the power of Wuji. Curem, a hollow shell remaining after the Great Split. It must freeze itself to stabilize its disintegrating cellular structure. Freezing pressure turns all movement into ruins. The silence is shattered as the energy core of truth suddenly awakens. Curem reacts to the intrusion of law-defying thermal energy. A compressed ice beam is launched to extinguish the primordial fire. Blue flare collides with cold air, causing violent steam explosions. Truth does not retreat, it chooses to strike at the flawed shell. The weight of emptiness carries the momentum of a mountain. Curem releases its suppressed state, bringing temperature to absolute zero. A destructive storm, devouring all ideals and truths. Thermal energy is neutralized by a colorless infinite force. The final moment of the struggle between existence and nothingness. Truth is, once again buried under layers of ancient ice. Curem restores order through absolute silence. Scars are filled with frost and solitude. The giant chasm ecosystem returns to eternal hibernation. Curem is the boundary that no creature is permitted to cross. It is no longer passive, but the guardian of the boundary. This power exists only to await a true hero. A soul waiting to be filled by ideals or truth. Balance is maintained at the cost of confinement. Time stands still inside the giant chasm. The world outside will never know of this encounter. Emptiness is the highest form of absolute power. In this misty forest, silence is the perfect camouflage for death. Fungus, the patient mimic, waiting for nutrition to come to it. Curiosity is often a death sentence in the wild. The eternal sleep comes very gently. But the food chain order can always be overturned. Scolipede, a ruthless predator that knows no mercy. Defensive reflex, stun spore to slow the enemy. But thick armor neutralizes the weak counterattack. The impact crushes the mushroom's fragile structure. Final effort, high-density sleep spores. On the brink of death, it clings to life by draining the enemy. Crushing pressure triggers cellular explosion. From the rubble, a moongus rises. Now, its body is a living fortress. Clear smog wipes away all the opponent's stat boosts. Draining vitality to nourish the new shell. Counter-attacking the critical weak point. The death throes of a fallen predator. Rage powder misdirects the final focus. A ruthless finisher at unavoidable range. The predator has become fertilizer for the fungus. Mew, the genetic code of the beginning, playing among its creations. But the jungle always holds deadly traps. Intervention precise to the millimeter. The power that can crush stars used to cradle a tiny life. An invisible gatekeeper, always present but rarely seen. But disaster never waits. The power to move mountains executed as light as a feather. The noise of life gives way to the deadly silence of stone and metal. An ancient war machine lying dormant waiting for energy to reboot. Innocence leads the way to the abyss. The perfect feint. Mechanical speed completely overwhelms biological reflexes. Using the machine's own momentum against it. Softness overcomes hardness. It wants to devour the entire divine genetic code. In the eye of the storm, silence is the greatest strength. The mind reaches the state of void. All noise is eliminated. The machine pours all remaining energy into one final gamble. Surgical counterattack, precise and destructive. The origin gene delivers the final verdict. Genesis pulse. The machine has been permanently powered down. On ancient steppes, the silence of the lake ecosystem is maintained by microscopic energy pulses. Keldeo, a semi-liquid biomechanical entity, exists in a fragile balance between land and water. The burden of ancient legacy lies within the opaque, unformed horn. The cultivation process is not through raw power, but through rhythmic control. Every step of the ancient guardians is a defined geological pulse. Keldeo observes and tries to mimic that heavy stride, but its semi-liquid body is still unstable. Kinetic desynchronization often leads to useless scattered force. Every conflict is a measurement of velocity and center of gravity. Scattered force is the consequence of an unfocused center of gravity. Kinetic adjustment demands maximum neurological focus. From then, Keldeo practices focusing everything into a thin line, gathering all force into a clear, single straight axis. Achieving biological stillness allows for linear impulse. Relentless forging in the dark gradually bends the physical limits of the body. The shell of hesitation shatters, releasing a fully formed biological nucleus. The reconstruction process is complete. The resolute sentinel arises, carrying the flawless precision of a straight line. The resolute form is not faster, but more precise. Interacting with the mud ecosystem demands rear leg stability. The resolute sentinel no longer experiments, but rather flawless reflex. The entire process is the concentration of energy into an unblemished straight line. Without any communicative signals, biological stillness has allowed for absolute impulse synchronization. The four entities now operate as a single kinetic network, inseparable. From a sapling with unconscious fluctuations, it has learned to gather survival energy into a flawless straight line, not through brute force, but through absolute precision. At the borders of humid rainforests, nature distinctly divides ecological niches into three isolated spatial tiers. In the canopy, the visual structure of Brout turns it into a perfect optical radar station, monitoring every microscopic fluctuation below. On the ground, Pombon navigates the world through a network of olfactory receptors. Its heat-generating organ reacts rhythmically to the amount of chemical traces gathered from the air. At the still water's edge, Gekwa is the master of passive ambush. Its moist skin, absorbs seismic vibrations, waiting for the prey to step into the kill zone itself. Initially, these three predators operated independently on three different spatial axes. A random friction during hunting created a dynamic chain reaction. The sudden appearance of a physical barrier completely neutralizes the escape momentum. No one got the food, but this moment of intersecting gazes awakened a primal symbiotic instinct. From coincidence, a linked hunting strategy is formed. However, the peace of an ecosystem is always threatened by apex predators. A seviper, its weight and toxins are pure destruction to smaller creatures. The warning signal is immediately transmitted from the observation deck using high-frequency sound waves. The three-axis spatial defense network is immediately activated. The predator confidently slithers into the territorial intersection zone, completely unaware of the trap. A physical provocation, Seviper's kinetic energy is compressed to its elastic limit. Precise evasion completely strips the momentum from the attack. Just as the enemy's neural reflex chain is stretched, the second spatial axis engages. From above, an optical decoy is dropped, completely severing the predator's peripheral vision. Attacked visually, auditorily, and olfactory simultaneously, the snake's nervous system falls into sensory overload. Spatial disorientation completely neutralizes its killer instinct. Faced with a multi-axis defense system, the only biological choice is retreat. The forest quickly re-establishes its thermodynamic equilibrium. In the shallow bay, silence conceals a primordial defensive machine. Its optical eyes function as a periscope measuring the tidal cycles. As the tide rises, the armored body inches forward against the waves. Suddenly snapping its prey, sluggishness is compensated by a perfect ambush. The shallow waters always harbor lethal danger from opportunistic predators. Retracting entirely, it transforms into an impenetrable, lifeless limestone block. Airborne threats expose the fatal weakness of its heavy, cumbersome biology. Hidden deep within the cliffs, a violent biological reaction begins to form. The exoskeleton cracks, mineral energy erupts into a blinding white light. The light abruptly dies, revealing the form of a completely new warrior. Kabutos sheds the mud, standing upright with coldly sharp scythes. Its hydrodynamic structure turns it into a high-speed apex predator. Dashing forward, brutal slashes tear through the hardest of shells. Gyarados' arrival ignites a fierce battle for the shallow water territory. Absorbing the water pressure, it counters by manipulating the terrain around it. Stone spears erupting from the ground strip the opponent's mobility advantage. Twin scythes swing crosswise, tearing steel scales and forcing the giant to retreat. Atop the food chain, it re-establishes the prehistoric order of survival. Below, a new generation consumes the remnants to prepare for molting. From passive shell to scythe assassin, the evolutionary loop continues forever. In Asado's geothermal zone, life sprouts not from seeds, but from volcanic ash. A Charcaday pair breaches stone cocoons, forged by millennia of extreme geothermal pressure. In this harsh realm, energy is the only currency with any true practical value. Coordination begins as one individual uses Ember to strategically guide the prey's movement. The second uses Tackle, leveraging pure inertia to fell a much larger, heavy opponent. But deep within their genetic code, a biological differentiation begins to unfold silently. One forges bone density, while the other focuses intensely on maximizing thermal compression. It endures physical destruction to construct either armor or achieve absolute lethal agility. Facing the giant, it employs flame charge to shatter the enemy's tactical balance. Rage counters with earth power, transforming the solid ground into a crushing weapon. Smokescreen is deployed to neutralize the enemy, protecting its partner in an instant. Under extreme pressure, the carbon shell begins a process of forced biological crystallization. An ancient malice awakens, transforming the red flame into a spectral, lethal aura. Armor Rouge and Cerulege emerge, two opposing entities forged from heat and ancient malice. This is Armor Cannon, releasing a millennium of pressure to penetrate all physical barriers. Shadowsneak sends the Executioner through the void, reaching the prey's critical blind spot. The Shadow Claw attacks the nervous system, while Armor halts every final resistance. Relentless training allows them to achieve a level of absolute lethal biological precision. One commands an authoritative stillness, while the other embodies a lurking, primal fear. This opposition creates nature's most perfect, flawless defense and offense system. The struggle continues, but their status has been permanently and forever altered from here. Bitterblade concludes the reaction, banishing the old ruler from this kingdom of ash.